Hey everyone, this is Andrew from the Private Investigator Advice Podcast, and I want to just thank you guys for tuning in for yet another podcast. I'm just happy to be on here with you, and I hope that, like every podcast, you get something from these things. That they're helpful for you. You get some knowledge, all that kind of good stuff. If you are new to the podcast, first of all, thank you for tuning in. There's plenty of great content all through. I think this is going to be podcast 89. So there's 88 other podcasts that you can listen to. Personally, I always recommend starting at the beginning, especially if you're new or interested in the investigation industry. That's like a good starting point. So I always recommend going there. And also, I post once a week. I usually try to post podcasts on Tuesday or Wednesday, and so you can usually count on it by then. I make a video with this as well, so if you want to subscribe to the YouTube channel, that's also an option. And always, you can find me at piadvice.net. So before we get into today's topic, I just want to let you know that this episode is, this was coming, right? This episode is brought to you by PI Advice. Listen, guys, currently we have 3 templates in there. 3 templates. Yeah. We have the surveillance template, the retainer template, the retainer agreement, and the intake template as well. Listen, they're all important documents, especially if you're going to be a new business owner. But if you're not a new business owner and you want to get into the industry and you just kind of don't know what to expect, I would point you, this is good for business owners as well, but I would point you to the surveillance template. The surveillance template is going to kind of show you what most surveillance templates look like. Everybody has their own little spin on them. I've been in this industry a long time, so there's definitely going to be certain sections that you're going to want in there. But more than that, I added an example report in that little when you purchase, if you decide to purchase all by itself and not to get the bundle, it's going to be, you're going to have the example report in there as well. So you can kind of see where everything goes and how the verbiage that I use on my reports, as well as I got a video in there just to kind of, again, I really want to make sure that you guys are good with this when you guys get it. How to put pictures in there, things like that, so you can kind of spruce up the report a little bit. They're all on Word documents, guys, so if there's something that you don't like in there, you can always switch it or change it. Anyways, so if you want to check that out, if you're watching the video podcast, I'm going to put it in the notes below in the YouTube video notes. If you're listening to this, I'm going to put it in the notes in the podcast. Hopefully your podcast player, you can push the links. And of course, you can always find all these templates at piadvice.net. I would recommend getting the bundle because you get everything and you get a discount. So I'll have some more templates soon. I'm very kind of excited about that. Just want to make sure they look right for you when it comes to the examples and things like that. That's all. I think that's one of the most important parts of these things, especially for new investigators. So, okay, listen, let's get into the podcast here. So I think I already said this. This is podcast 89. Now, here's the topic here. The question I want to answer for you, and this is going to be from my experience. I'm also open to anybody chiming in the notes of the article that I originally wrote for this, or the video, or just reaching out to me if you guys have more instances of this. But the question I want to answer for you is: do private investigators lie? Now, if you've been in this industry for a while, I think you're going to know part of the answers to this. Some of you might have answers that I don't know, and I'm more than willing and happy to put that in my original article to add to it and share that with others. I know you know me, guys. If you've been listening to me for an amount of time, I've been in this industry since 2003. The end of 2003, and I have come across several liars over the years. For me, I don't know, like, I just think, like, of course there's liars out there. Everybody lies about something, I'm sure. But I kind of relate in my brain, private investigators to, like, the good guys. So I have a hard time when I know that there's so many kind of shady people in this industry, and maybe not the way you're thinking. Maybe I'm kind of making your mind look at other things, but like I kind of look at it like police officers. Like I see police officers with integrity. They're the good guys. They're trying to do the right thing, and that's how I look at private investigators. Like these are the good guys. They're trying to find the truth. And they're trying to do it ethically. Ethically, does that sound right? It didn't sound right coming out of my mouth. But anyways, they're just trying to do it the right way. So that's how I envision this industry. That's what I expect from the industry. That's what I expect from people in this industry. But anyways, there is lying in this industry, and I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about my experience with that. And again, I'm totally open to hearing more things about it, adding to this. Well, it won't be to this podcast or this video, but definitely the article where people can go and read. So I will say, like, when I did create this original article that I'm talking to you about now, I tried to remember times. So just to kind of shape your expectations here, I tried to remember times where when I knew a private investigator lied, and that lie directly affected the file we were working in. And what I mean by that is like they faked something that incriminated somebody, right? So just for an example, somebody doctored information or something like that that would have like hurt somebody, that innocent person, right? Something like that. And I don't recall, in my experience, something like that ever happening. Now, listen, I'm sure it's out there. And with that being said, I tried to search for something like that, like online, and maybe you guys can find something, maybe some kind of cases, case law regarding that or something like that. But or just court cases rather of somebody, a private investigator, that did something. Kind of doctored information or something to that effect. Now, like I said, I'm sure it's out there. Share it with me. I'll share it with you, everybody else as well. But anyway, I couldn't really find it. I didn't spend hours digging, but the time when I had written this, I didn't see anything. So, but private investigators do lie. And I will say some of it is completely reasonable considering the type of work we are in. But again, it has to be, everything's, in my mind, it has to be ethical, done the right way. And so let me explain that real quick. So one of the ways that private investigators lie, which is just part of the job, is pretexting. Now, I wrote a ginormous article on this, and we're going to get into that. It's probably going to be like a 3-parter, 2-parter, or something like that, because there was a lot of information on it. But that's one of the ways, obviously private investigators lie. So if you don't know what a pretext is, pretext is a lie. It's a ruse. It's a way for private investigators to disguise what they're actually doing, right? So here's an example, and I'll give you a few here. When I'm trying to locate somebody, I might pretend to be somebody else in the attempt to try to locate somebody. Sometimes I knock on the door and talk with the person I'm trying to find, just to again confirm maybe that they're home. Now I'm not going to go knock knock knock. Hi, my name's Andrew. I'm a private investigator. How are you doing? I just want to see if you're home so I could bill out my day. I can't do that. That's not good for me, right? Other time I've pretexted people, in the past, just to try to find out what kind of vehicles they had, because that was going to be imperative to, the assignment, for another investigator. I was doing the pretext for another investigator. I was a manager at the time. So anyways, or just trying to find out, where they've moved to, where they've been, locate people. I guess that's really the main point. Locate them, find out if they're home. All these reasons, I've tried to pretext on people. Also, obviously, if maybe I'm doing a surveillance and somebody knocks on my, my window, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" I'm not. Well, in some cases I do. I just say, "Well, I am a private investigator working in the area," but sometimes you provide a pretext to where, depending on the situation, to disguise why I'm really there. And so I might say, no, I'm a process server, or, oh, I'm looking at real estate in the area, or it's, whatever. And these things aren't malicious. I'm just not telling the truth, so it's a lie. So that's basically it, and if I use a pretext and I get the information I was looking for, that means I've nailed it and great. Again, nothing I'm doing is malicious. Nothing I'm doing is illegal. It's considered a lie. So now let's talk about the instances that I don't think are okay. And again, these are my experiences. So this is the stuff that I was very much aware of the things that were happening. So one of them is when private investigators, again, this isn't necessarily affecting the individuals they're investigating. This is just maybe affecting the company that they're working for. So one of the things is called when a private investigator doesn't show up for an assignment. There's a tendency in this industry for investigators who work alone to be kind of shady. So there's some investigators that won't show up, and they say they will, but they don't. And this thing that I'm telling you about is called ghosting. I actually wrote an extensive article on this too, and we will definitely get into this. I might even be the next podcast because it's I'm passionate about that subject. So the investigator will say, act as if they're going to the assignment. They really don't go. They might doctor some videotape to make it look as though they did show up to the assignment, and they still charge the company they work for as if they did the assignment. That happens way more than you know. So now, is that affecting the person they're watching? Probably not. Most cases, the only person it's affecting is the results. It's affecting the client, the person that's hiring us to go do that stuff. And it's affecting the employer because that can, obviously if you're not getting any results, and then, if you find out they have been ghosting, and that affects a client relationship, and nothing good comes from ghosting. So that's number one. Another instance that I remember specifically, because I've worked with some shady investigators in my time, saying someone's home when they're not. So in this industry, especially in the insurance investigation industry, there's this expectation that with most clients that we confirm the subject that we're conducting surveillance on, we confirm them home by the 4-hour mark. Now, I get the reason behind this, and that's, maybe I probably talked about it a little bit before in the past, and I get the rationale, but that's not really the point about this. The point of this topic is, there was a guy, we'll call him Investigator C, the letter C. Investigator C had to confirm somebody home, so he stated that he knocked on the door and he spoke with the subject, the one that he was conducting surveillance on. So that way he identified them. He knew what the person looked like, and by name. So he says, "Hi, I'm blah blah blah. My pretext. I'm looking for Susie. So whatever. I'm Susie. Oh, hi, Susie." Now he knows who Susie is. That was like a horrible pretext. Don't ever use that one. But anyways, and then he went on to videotape the person. Unfortunately, that person was the wrong person. Now, it's completely plausible that the person just said they were that person and they really weren't. Unfortunately, the guy that I'm referring to was a compulsive liar. That was not the first time. So that's why I don't believe that was the case. And so anyways, he billed out the day. And another competent investigator worked the file behind him, like after him, and determined that was not the right person, and did find out who the right person is, and continued on with the assignment. But so that guy lied. And again, that cost a company money in so many different ways for private investigators to be faking the funk. Okay. So what do we got here? The next one, another instance of private investigators lying. Sometimes investigators will change the time on their cameras. And this kind of relates to the previous topic of ghosting. And this is, again, I've I have direct experience with this. Not me doing it, but I guess you could say catching people doing it. All right. So there are knuckleheads that will get to a case late, right? And they will alter the time on their camera to reflect getting there at the proper time. So again, these things get caught because eventually there's evidence of something happening during a case that doesn't match their account of what happened, and they eventually get caught and they eventually get fired. That's just the way it goes. The people who to alter times always get caught eventually. So anyways, so some will do it that way. They get there late. And like they'll say, hey, start at 6:00. They get there at 6:30, but then when they get there, they change the time on their camera to say 6, take a video time shot, and then go back to the normal time and go on their way. Some people will do this to get off early. So I've known investigators to ghost. They will go to a case and they will work 4 hours, and then they will take time shots in random locations or whatever to make it look as though they stayed a full 8 hours. They will still take phone calls from managers and act as if certain things happened. Again, they always get caught and they get fired. So anyways, that would be another one. So you're changing the time to ghost. You're essentially ghosting too because you've left the case and you're no longer there. I've known even I worked for a company that had 2 investigators on files, and I still remember it was like everybody tried to do it, and that was not the culture that I came from. That's not the investigator that I am. So I go working for this company, and we'd be at the 7.5 hour mark, and it'd be like, hey man, you ready to cut out early? And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, yeah, we'll just move the clock forward, say we're here till the 8 hour mark and get out of here. I'm like, listen, dude. And I was still new to that company. I'm like, listen, man, if you want to go ahead and do that, you go ahead and do that. But I am going to stay here and work this file until the 8 hour mark or, whenever the activity stops. And so again, it was and that was like a shady culture that, and I don't even know if the owner knew about it. But I wasn't going to be a part of it. So, anyways, and so what ends up happening is like, nah, man, that's cool. Yeah, we'll just hang out for the 8 hours. Because I don't know whether they thought that because it wasn't participating in the lie or the whatever, time fraud, whatever you want to call it, that I might tell on them, or maybe they just felt guilty. But that just wasn't. It's just not how I roll. So that wasn't going to happen. So that's another instance. So. And another, and I think we just talked about this, lying on your resume. Listen, podcast, something, I don't know which one it is here. I'm going to try to pull it up here. There was a podcast I just did about resumes, and I would, highly encourage you to check it out. That would be, let's see here. Podcast number 86, 10 Pride Investigator Resume Tips. So the other one that happens quite a bit is lying about your experience. Now listen, and I'm just gonna beat this down the entire time with me and our journey together on this podcast, on the website. Listen, if you lie on your resume, you're gonna get found out because the people who do this for a living every single day, and this is any industry, you can't fake the funk. They know if you know what you're doing. They know because they've been doing it every day. So be real, obviously try to sell yourself, try to sell your skills, but don't lie about your experience. Don't say you can do something more than you can really do. It's going to ruin your credibility. Even if you do get hired, you're going to be known as not being trustworthy because everything about this industry is trust. There are people that, I have such a small group of people I trust in this industry, and it takes a while for me to, and maybe it's just the way I was brought up or whatever, but it's incredibly important. And that's why I think I fit well into this industry in that regard is if I know that I could trust the person I'm working with, then when they tell me something happened, then that's what happened. It's not like they're they're changing the story to make it sound better or make them sound better. Because if that's the case, then they lose credibility with me. Then what aren't they telling the truth about? How many times did I not catch it? So listen, just be truthful in all that you do. Just try to do your best job. If you make a mistake, you made a mistake, and just kind of, hey, I don't know how that happened. I'm totally sorry. I make mistakes all the time. I do. And I tell the person immediately. It just happened to me yesterday. I made a mistake on a case, and lucky it was fine. It ended up working out fine. I didn't realize some things about the file, but I was like, hey, I didn't mean to do that. I'm so sorry. He's like, oh yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah, I mean, but it worked out well. Like I didn't, he wasn't upset about it, but I just couldn't have that weight on me, like. Doing something or trying to, lie about it. So anyways, we're all human, right? But, and we're not perfect. And I think that people have more respect for people that are truthful about their mistakes than the ones who are always trying to hide them and lie. So, I could go on about this and just ramble, but I'm not going to. In fact, I'm going to wrap it up here. Listen, if you watch this on video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know that you liked it. If that's in case you did. If you didn't like it, don't worry about any thumbs. No thumbs. Just only if you like it, thumbs up. And guys, I so enjoy this. I enjoy doing this for you all week, every week. And really, I'm gonna kind of talk about it a little bit more in the future because I'm just kind of realizing some things, and so I just thank you guys, and I enjoy serving you. I enjoy sharing. I enjoy teaching, and that's it. All right, see you guys on the next one. Talk to you later.